Hello, before we begin today's video, can you please like, share, and subscribe to the channel because it actually helps expand the wonderful knowledge of NY and JPA weather and helps yours truly. So I really would appreciate it. So thank you, and as always, stay safe out there. Now let's get to today's video. Good morning, welcome to the Premium Public Video Forecast discussion for Friday, November 7th, 2025. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen D. Martino, CDM number 9. First, we're going to start off with a little bit of news from the CDC and from Johns Hopkins. Thank you for the information, as always. Again, we're doing a partnership to help out. I remember growing up as a kid watching this all the time on the Weather Channel, where you talk about, the flu season as we get into the cold season, right? So, good news. COVID on the way down. Flu and RSV on the way up. Now, look, as you know, I am a big proponent for green tea. I drink a lot of it, so I would definitely suggest drinking a lot of that. Just talk to your doctor. Just be aware of what's going on around there with all the little kids and stuff. But definitely a rise is starting to show up for flu and other little bugs running around. But the COVID is falling off, which is great to see. Very happy to see that. Now, what else is going on in the world of meteorology? Well, as you know, I always keep an eye on the tropics, and not much is going on. The NHC is not expecting anything over the next 7 days, and quite frankly, I don't expect anything over the next 15 days. Take a look at this. This is the forecast from the European ensembles of basically storm tracks, and it is literally empty here. Quiet. Very quiet. Now, there's always a chance, climatologically speaking, of something trying to pop up around here this time of year. And you do see one or two little indications of that, but that's really, really weak. So I'm not really expecting anything of significance over the next 15 days. I checked these lows. These are actually cold core lows, all right? That means non-tropical. And, of course, this is all just a lot of cold fronts and low pressure systems marching across the Atlantic. No major developments or anything. Now, that's pretty good news. And we get this far into November without any development. You might be getting pretty close to say, we're done. Melissa was the finale, so to speak, right? So far, so good. That idea is holding up pretty nicely, but hopefully that holds up and continues because we don't need any more activity from the tropics. Thank you very much. And this is the surface winds, and this is the intertropical convergence zone. Not much really bubbling up there. Now, what is bubbling up is our La Niña. It's finally showing life after quite some time of just kind of limping along as a cold neutral because it's being helped out by what we call the MJO, which is moving into these phases. Now, when you're in 3, 4, and 5, right? 3, 4, 5. This typically helps more like of a La Niña pattern, right? It enhances it, right? Consider it more like a bit of a steroid, right? So with this matches up nicely with this, right? Ever since it's gotten to that phase, it's rising pretty nicely. And of course, that supports your La Nina conditions that are clearly in place for almost the entire region, except for Nina 1+2. Interesting to see that, right? Just keep that in the back of your mind. Let's say around January and February, as we watch warm water starting to develop. Just keep an eye on that. That's going to be important later on, but just put that in the back of your memory for now. But with this setup, and with this going into phase 7, it's pretty strongly supported by the GFS, the CFS, the CMT, JM. That's actually JMAN. It's a somewhat okay model. These two right here, these are the Australian models, right? So what are they all saying? Well, in one way or another, again, they all have their ways of getting to it, but basically they're all saying, hey, we're going towards phase 7 and eventually towards phase 8 as we move into December. Why is this important? Okay, so you see this right here? When this goes into phase 7 and 8, it's going to take a nosedive. It is going to plummet. All these daily contributions are going to go negative. Okay, so why do I care? Well, when that happens, you're going to get a little bit more active subtropical jet stream, a little bit reduction of the ridge over the Bahamas and the Florida, and a lot more interaction with the polar jet stream. And we're in December at this point. Interesting, right? Your support for your La Nina, which maybe lasts a month, maybe. Let's go a month and a half, right? Let's go from mid-October to mid-November. We get the buildup, and then from mid-November to mid-December, we get the collapse. And that is essentially what is driving the MJO set. Very, very, very impressive setup here. All evolving just like somewhere. Where have I heard? Oh, yeah, the winter forecast. Yeah, pretty much evolving, pretty much like that. So while that's all happening, and the sea surface temperatures really haven't changed all that much from what I was forecasting, look at this. Hey, you know what that's called? That's called the beginnings of stratospheric warming. Very interesting. So we're seeing the interaction with this. We're seeing our QBO, of course, in our easterly state. This right here is the first sign of it going back to westerly state. Don't worry, this takes months to evolve, but it will happen because most likely, I'd say probably by the spring, let's say like April, May, you'll see the QBO going back, which is the oscillation. That's the oscillation point. It goes back and forth, right? So that will happen. We don't have to worry about that through the winter. But what that easterly state does, it allows for more of this type of signal showing up here. And it's a sign of a weakening of the polar vortex, but it is not a widespread warming. Like if you had all right up here, that'd be widespread. That'd be a major stratospheric warming event. But we're certainly seeing more warming, and we continue to see a lot more guidance support for a weak polar vortex, right? Anytime you're below this red line, which is, let's say this is like your average, that means this is weak. So weak polar vortex. There is some signal, growing signal, of an extremely weak polar vortex or possibly a major stratospheric warming event where you get a reversal of the winds in the stratosphere. I would not jump on that just yet. Just kind of, again, another little morsel to put in the back of your mind. We'll see how it evolves with the observations. But it's certainly persistent in the model guidance, okay? So it's certainly something just to keep note of. But I'm going to lean more towards, hey, look, we're going to see weakening, stretching of the polar vortex. And what that means for us is more potential for our negative NAO to continue to be an issue. And look, if you even go out to 46 day, it's still going negative, neutral, negative. You don't really see any type of positive phase going all the way into late December. The EPO is a lot more fluctuating, but even that trends towards a negative state. Negative EPO, negative NAO. Where did I hear that before? Oh, yeah. Once again, the winter forecast. So we're seeing all this take place here, and you already have the impacts of the cryosphere. You already know all about that. And you're seeing here in the forecast over the next 10 days, you see how it kind of stretches towards North America? This is going to keep cold shots dropping in, but this is not really the look I am watching for major storm pattern yet. Keyword yet. So for November, this is more of our step down. Okay, so we get shots of cold air rotating around. New England's going to be awfully happy. Your ski locations are going to be happy to see this as this whole thing starts to evolve here. What you would really want to see, you could work with this. What I'd really like to see is for this kind of almost flip, like the polar vortex here and this thing maybe out here. But either way, I'll take it. You know, this is basically the evolution that we're looking for as this whole setup takes place. And so what that means in terms of the 500 millibar pattern is that we continue to remain awfully blocky. Hey, look, see that right up there? That's your negative NAO block. Not storm supportive. So the ridge is a little bit off. So again, when it comes to meteorology, location matters. So the location of the ridge in the west is a little wonky to support any type of major storms that you might hear hyped up about that might show up in the model guidance from time to time. But this is certainly a pattern where your polar air masses are going to be interacting quite a bit. You're going to have a very active pattern setting up here. As you go further out, why do we have this orange-red here? What's going on here? This is where you have to also look at the way that the patterns evolved here, right? So again, we still have that La Nina influence, so you still have the kind of building up heights here, and that's with the subtropical jet stream, but you have your polar jet stream with a trough meandering around, the Aleutians and the Gulf of Alaska. You got a very weak ridge here. You got definitely below normal heights here, ridge axis up here. Again, this is 10 to 15 days out. So what does this tell me? Well, I don't like going with the idea of rapidly collapsing high latitude blocking regimes, which typically when we go this far out, the model guidance starts to minor this out. But what it really tells me is that we have the conditions still in place. Again, you have below normal heights here. This would support a west-based negative NAO. When this is out here towards Iceland, it's east-based. When it's out here towards the Canadian Maritime, that is more west-based. So you have this west-based negative NAO signal that is a bit faint because we're 15 days out at this point. So most likely you have the trough here. But why do you have this signal here? This is not a ridge. This is a sign of confluence. This tells me strong high-pressure system here, storm track here, cutting to the south of the mid-Atlantic. So chilly, but not stormy. Progressive, plenty of snow showers. Lake effect snow is going to be an issue. Those of you in Syracuse, Tokyo Plateau, those of you guys in New England, you're going to see a lot of clippers come on through with some snowfall. This is not a major storm pattern yet. This is a pattern building up your snowpack in Canada and in New England. That's what this is. And some cold shots and maybe a flurry or so often around the northern mid-Atlantic. So now that we got the overall idea of what the pattern is and where we're stepping to, this is all a progress stepping to. Now let's take a look at the overall theme here. Now, currently, right now, not bad. Temperatures in the 30s and 40s, pretty seasonable for this time of year. You had some locations that are around freezing, especially in your higher elevations in your far northern interior, northwestern New Jersey, upper 20s to lower 30s, mid to upper 30s in a lot of your suburbs, lower to mid 40s in your urban areas and along the immediate coast. Not too bad at all. Very quiet weather conditions. High pressure is starting to give way after sitting over the region, and clouds are starting to increase as another cold front approaches. This cold front will reach us by the time we get to this evening, and that's going to lead to a few scattered showers. You can see here on the infrared satellite picture, nice little progressive, one after the other, marching its way towards us. And on the water vapor satellite picture, same thing, one short wave after another on the way, interacting in this weather pattern. And you can see this weather pattern very nicely here, 250 millibars. Is the polar jet stream's kind of split between kind of like an Arctic branch and a more of a polar branch, I'd say temperate branch. And then here's your subtropical jet down here, just kind of marching along. A little bit of heights build right here. There's your little La Nina connection trying to pop up. Very weak though. Again, you have your very, very progressive on this part, right? Because of the Pacific, and then everything gets log jammed here in the Atlantic because of our block, which you can see right here. So again, no major storms, but certainly it's able to keep that chilly air in place. So as we go forward over the next couple of days, take a look at the 500 millibar PVA and the pattern overall. You can see one shortwave passing through tonight with some showers. Another one comes through on Sunday afternoon. And then you get this trough lingering. And while this is lingering around the region, I have a lot of instability and also cold air. Take a look at this cold air coming in on Monday. For the weekend, it's not too bad. Today's a little chilly, sure. The weekend, not too bad. And then, boom, there's the wall coming in on Monday. This tells me temperatures are going to be falling throughout the day on Monday as this cold air comes in. And you're going to see more instability in the atmosphere as this cold air does this. And then, because you're around -9 to -7 degrees Celsius, that's some chilly air. Okay, so Monday you're going to see the cold air cascade down. Your highs are most likely going to be more in the late morning hours, and then everything free falling in the afternoon and evening. Tuesday is going to be chilly. We're talking about 20s and 30s for lows, 30s and 40s for highs, and with this type of cold air, maybe even a flurry or two on the coastal plain because we have lingering moisture hanging around. Then, we're going to get these shots of little troughs rotating through, sending cold air in. And you can also see it here, 500 millibar PVA. Just a very progressive, active pattern, keeping us on the chilly side. No major storms, though. So that's certainly some good news. But you're definitely going to need your jacket more. So let's dive into this forecast. For today, southwesterly winds going to be developing. Scattered cloud cover, quiet for most of the day. High temperatures in the lower to mid 50s over the northern interior, upper 50s to lower 60s along the coast. For tonight into tomorrow morning, the cold front moves through with scattered showers. As you're waking up tomorrow morning, those showers will start to leave the region. But I would say until about 10 a.m., you still have a threat for showers. Look for low temperatures in the upper 40s to lower 50s over the northern interior, lower to mid 50s along the coast. On Saturday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, scattered cloud cover, maybe an isolated lingering shower, but for the most part dry. Look for high temperatures in the lower to mid 50s over the northern interior, upper 50s to lower 60s along the coast. Notice not much of a change in the air mass, right? That cold front didn't pack much of a punch. Saturday night into Sunday, pretty quiet. Through Sunday morning, scattered cloud cover, relatively warm. Low temperatures in the lower to mid 40s over the northern interior, mid to upper 40s along the coast. And then Sunday afternoon, clouds rapidly increase. Scattered showers become more widespread as you head towards the evening. Some of those showers will be capable of a heavier downpour or two. High temperatures in the lower to mid 50s over the northern interior, upper 50s to lower 60s along the coast, and lower to mid 60s on the I-95 corridor. And then free fall. Monday morning, as that low pressure system moves through, the showers start to exit. You'll start off relatively warm with low temperatures over the northern interior in the mid to upper 30s over the northern interior again. Upper 30s to mid 40s along the I-95 corridor in the suburbs, and upper 40s to lower 50s along the coast. Monday afternoon, as the cold air is seeping in, your high temperatures are going to be in the late morning to early afternoon hours. So let's say between 10 a.m. and noon, okay? And in that time period, your high temperatures over the interior will be in the mid to upper 30s. They don't move all that much, maybe a degree or two. Along the I-95 corridor and along the suburbs of New York City, you're basically looking at temperatures holding in the lower to mid 40s. And along the coast, ranging from the upper 40s to mid 50s. But then everything free falls and falls throughout the afternoon and evening. So by the evening, it is going to be chilly with a steady northwesterly wind. You have a few isolated showers around, mixing with a snowflake or two over the northern interior. Then on Tuesday morning, as the cold air takes hold, don't be surprised you get a few flurries hanging around the region, but overall pretty quiet. But man, temperatures are going to plummet. Look for low temperatures in the lower to mid 20s over the northern interior, upper 20s to lower 30s in your suburbs, lower 30s in your urban areas. High temperatures will range from the mid 30s over the northern interior, upper 30s to lower 40s along the coast. And again, don't be surprised you get a few snow showers in the Poconos and Catskills, a few flurries even down towards the coastal waters. It is going to be a very chilly day. Then on Wednesday, another series of troughs pass on through, scattered cloud cover, and isolated rain or snow shower. Look for low temperatures ranging from the upper 20s to lower 30s throughout the region. High temperatures will range from the mid 40s over the northern interior, upper 40s to lower 50s around the Delaware River Valley, and lower to mid 50s along the coast. On Thursday, another series of troughs and little weak cold fronts pass on through. Scattered cloud cover, mix of sun and clouds, an isolated rain or snow shower. Again, nothing major, but just kind of a pest. Look for low temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, upper 30s to lower 40s along the coast. High temperatures in the lower to mid 40s over the interior, upper 40s to lower 50s along the coast. And on Friday, yeah, you guessed it, more troughs passing on through. An isolated rain or snow showers possible. Other than that, look for scattered cloud cover. Low temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s over the northern interior, mid to upper 30s along the coast. High temperatures in the upper 30s to lower 40s over the northern interior, mid to upper 40s in your suburbs, upper 40s to lower 50s in your urban area. So a little bit of an urban heat island influence there. So that is the week. Again, no major storms, but certainly turning colder and certainly unsettled. Thank you as always, and as always, stay safe out there. Thank you for watching today's video. I really do appreciate it. But if you want to help the channel out even more, and myself, of course, you might want to check out Premium Consulting Membership. which provides amazing content and information that you get beyond the daily video that you see Monday through Friday. So what do you get? Well, you get updates every day in the premium dashboard, starting with, of course, checking out the latest winter forecast or other seasonal forecasts throughout the year, live coverage room where you can ask me questions live and I respond usually within a few minutes. Also, the latest holiday updates, how the weather will impact that upcoming holiday. If you are into landscaping or you work in landscaping, should I say, you will get the latest details on whether or not rainfall will be a threat and impact your job. And of course, there is all the other content. The zoomed in impact map, the severe threat analysis, long range thoughts, the premium consulting video, and also energy analysis, seasonal analysis, additional analysis when the storms get really tricky, winter storm overviews, and when the tropics gets really active, all of the updates, including the individual storms and the overview as well. And if you're a business owner, we also have a specific impact forecast for you guys as well, your own weather map. So let's take a look at the prices. Pretty fair. $15 a month gets you all this information. If you're looking for a little bit of a discount, you can also have a yearly at $150 and quarterly at $60. And also, for all of you business owners out there, you have the ability to get your own web page, your own consulting analysis based on what you need every day in the morning, updated Monday through Sunday without any delay. And of course, you can call me up as well and have that one-on-one consultation. So all this and more at NY and JPA Weather. Thank you as always for being a subscriber and watching the videos. But if you're looking for a little bit more, this would definitely be one of the ways to do so. So in the meantime, stay safe out there.